Hello and welcome everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. This video is just one in a series of many videos that will be highlighting both new and current features. Be sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following us on all social media to get the latest videos and updates about new and existing features. Alright, so let's get started. So today we'll be covering the Files Toolkit that is an integrated piece of the SuiteDash platform. So you get to Files by clicking in the primary menu here and just clicking Files, and you will see that you will immediately come across a set of files here that is default. Okay, so if you're an admin or you have access to the Files side, this is what you'll see. These have already been uploaded, so if you're in a brand new account, you won't see these, but you will see all of these. And each one has a specific use case, and in many cases a unique way of functioning. So this is not like the File Explorer on your Windows or Mac, in that like every folder you go into works exactly the same. Each of these folders or areas of the File Toolkit has a specific purpose, a purposely designed way of functioning to fit a real-world business use case. Okay, so in that sense, it's designed around the use case and not necessarily in some generic way that you might assume. So it's not confusing how they work, but it is not immediately obvious if you're just working your way through here. So that's why you need to pay attention to a training or something like this, or read up on each piece as you start to use it. And once you understand the concept, it's really quite simple. Okay, so let's start with the very basics. Okay, and the primary usage of the Files Toolkit in SuiteDash is to facilitate the sharing, exchange, and access to files between you, your staff, and your clients. It's that simple. So it's not meant to do. It can do a great many things, but it's mostly designed to help you in the relationships that you have with your staff and your team and your clients. And that being the case, the very first thing you'll see here in this primary, we'll call it the home, or we can call it root, but home is the most appropriate of the Files Toolkit, is the very first folder you'll see is client files. So if we click into client files, what you'll see, and every time you create a new contact, whether it's a prospect or a client, you will see a folder is automatically created. And in the Files Toolkit, we refer to every contact as a client because in our world, they're really prospective clients. So don't get hung up on the idea of client and prospect here. When we say client in the Files Toolkit, we mean someone that we hope to move towards being a client, which includes not leads in this case, but prospects. Okay. So you'll see there's a folder automatically created for each one of your clients. And let's just go to our standard sort of test client here. When you click inside, this is what you should understand. This folder structure is the default and it's set in stone. Okay. And there's a reason behind that. And the reason is that each one of these folders accomplishes a goal. Okay. So it's quite simple. So private files, clients cannot see files in this folder. So for example, if you were a designer and you're using vector files or some sort of source file that you and your team are creating in, but then you export out to a vector or a raster image or a delivery image, a deliverable. The deliverables you might provide to the client in any time, but the source files you want to keep internal. And in that case, this is a useful concept in that you can keep all of the source files and sort of the internal files related to this client in this private files folder. They're organized by the client here, but the client will never see them. Okay, only your internal team has access to this. Okay, shared with client. If you create file structure or put files inside share with client, they will absolutely see it. If you give them access to the files menu item and they click into that area, this is designed for your clients to be able to see what is in there. Submitted by client. Now this is submitted by client is related to elements in the platform like forms, flows, work requests. Any files that are submitted as a part of those submissions you will find inside submitted by client, and we'll look at that in a minute. And then client files, these are files that are uploaded by the client. Okay, so these are files that come from that side towards you, and this allows you to create a unique structure inside for your clients to deliver files to you. Okay, that's a quick summary, but now let's get a little bit deeper into what that all really means. Okay, so now let's just look with our pretty whiteboard pictures, and I don't know how pretty they are, but here they are. So again, files root, or let's just call it home, I think is more appropriate. We see the client files, the projects, file requests, folder generators, and file transfer. Okay, so we saw that in the first area of home here, right? We saw that here in this structure. All right, so that means that this is your home default configuration, and beneath these are other structures. Okay. Underneath client files, as we just discussed, you'll have private files shared with client, uploaded by client, submitted by client, and those were just explained as well. Okay. Inside submitted by client, you'll have forms, flows, projects, file requests, and work requests, just as we discussed. And the idea is that this is a way to segment any files that are uploaded, regardless of the origin. We segment here by the client. So I should say now that in the Files Toolkit, there are often multiple ways to arrive to the same file. One good example is projects. If I go into projects here, I can navigate through projects and find files there, but I can also go through projects and go into the specific project, into the files, and find the same file or folders. They're synced in between, and they're actually the same, not synced, but they're the same. It's just two different destinations or paths to get to the same destination. So the submitted by client, this one is a way to get to, like, for example, forms. Okay, so if each one of these is a form, I could go to forms, and I could go to this particular form, and I could find the submission for John Wick, and then I could find the files that were submitted in that submission. Or if I know, that might be one way, that would probably be a very inefficient way, because I likely know that I'm looking for a file related to John Wick, and therefore it's quicker for me to go to files, do a quick search for John Wick, go to submitted by client, find the form, and here I see all the submissions that John Wick submitted this form multiple times, right? And on each submission, I get a folder auto-created, and if there was a file submitted, it would be there inside here. In these cases, there are none. Let's see if we can find one really quick that has a submission. I don't even know which one. These are all sort of tests, but you get the idea. So the interesting part here is that each submission, you get an individual folder with a date and timestamp. And if they submit a different file on this day than this day, you can easily find the various versions based on when they submit it. And the same concept holds true for flows and for projects and for file requests and for work requests. Okay? So this is a really useful area, this submitted by client, because it lets you consolidate. What some of you might be asking or thinking is, will I be able to access this from the CRM contact dashboard? And yes, the answer is yes. So there's a third way that you could get to this data, right? Not through files and not through forms, but through CRM. And when you get to John Wick's CRM dashboard, there's a files tab, and you can navigate through this same structure and get to these same results from that direction as well. So it's designed to be efficient, designed to make it easy for you to find these files and get to them. In the same way, If clients upload files, it's easy for you to know, okay, I'm looking for a file that was uploaded by John Wick. I'm going to go here to uploaded by files, and there they are. Okay. Now you might see that there's folders here. You can create folders inside any of these defaults. You can create unlimited structure here if you so choose. So for example, if I needed John Wick to upload something really specific like a logo or headshot, I might come in here and create a folder and say just look for that folder, to look for the appropriate folder to upload the appropriate file. You know, upload driver's license, right? Maybe that's one. Okay, so now when he logs in and sees and goes to the file section, he'll say, okay, upload driver's license. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to upload that here. Then I'm going to go back and upload my headshots and my logos. And then when your staff or you comes into this area to look at what is uploaded, it's easy for you to find that. Now in this case, I just created that as a one-off creation, but we'll see later how you can do this in an automated way and apply these structures on the fly as part of an automation, which of course really makes everybody happy, right? Okay, so let's go back to the client files. Shared with client is the same way. If you need to share specific structure or specific folders with the client, you can do that here, and you can create that structure inside of shared with client. This one is a little bit busy. Has quite a few things uploaded, but you can sort by type, you can do a search, and you can find things rather quickly here. Okay, so we've talked about private files. We've talked about shared with client. These are things that we want them to see, and the structure in there can be created as we saw, or pre-created as we will see. Submitted by client. Everything here is auto-created, meaning you don't have any buttons to create a folder or upload things here. Everything is submitted by client is auto-created based on submissions by the client. Okay, so nothing for you to do here. And then in client's files are uploaded by client, you'll see that structure here. You'll find that files here that were uploaded by the client from the client side. And yes, you can also upload files here. And you can also create structure here to guide the client is really the best way to do that. Okay, so let's look a little bit deeper at what we are exploring here. So that is the structure inside client files. And again, let's look to reinforce that. It looks like this. This is the standard. Private files, shared with client, uploaded by client, submitted by client. Okay? All right, there we go. And then inside submitted client, we looked at that. Let's look now quickly at, let's jump right into folder generators, and then we'll come back to projects. Okay, before we look at this, let's go back to here. Folder generators. All right. We're going to skip over file requests and file transfer for the moment and projects, and we're going to come down here to folder generators to reference what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. So when I click into folder generators, what am I doing here? A folder generator is a method by which you can pre-create, predefine folder structure and files and folder structure to be auto-created for a client when they are created or afterwards, right? So whatever part in your workflow that you say, okay, now I want to, because they did this, they chose this path, or because they're in this funnel, I need to create a specific structure in their folders, in their file folder, to deliver exactly what I need to deliver. And here's a good example for maybe accountants and CPAs, and bookkeepers. So when I click inside folder generators, what I'm actually doing here, what I'm seeing here, is a list of folder generators. These are the titles of the folder generators. So instead of coming up with some alternative UI for creating folders and files inside, and then figuring out how to explain to you how to make a folder generator, we just used the same UI, and then the top level, this one, is the name of the folder generator. And then when I click inside of this one, this folder generator, you'll see that I get the default folders: private, shared, and client files. What do I not get? I don't get submitted by clients, because remember, that one is an automated, that's an automated structure that creates itself based on submissions. Okay, so that one we're not going to be able to affect. But what we can affect is this private, shared, and client, and uploaded by client. So here's a good example. If I click inside now, uploaded, or the client's files uploaded by client, I get upload docs here. If I click inside that, I'll say upload account statements. This is what I've pre-created and predefined. So what I'm doing here is, on the client side, when I apply this folder generator to a client, they're going to get this structure, so that when they log in and click files, they're going to see upload docs here. Okay, they click that. Upload account statements here. Okay, they click that, and now they can upload. And then they can follow the breadcrumbs back out and upload their W-2s, and then upload their bank statements, or you define exactly what you want them to do. And then it becomes really quite simple for them to follow that structure, A, and it becomes quite simple for you to retrieve those files accurately, you or your staff, B. And then these files just are here for you at any time. You can, in this part where you say upload docs here, you could put a year on this, 2022, or I said 2022. And then when the year changes, you could duplicate this folder generator, change the name to 2023, change the name 2023 here. And then on the client side, they'll always see and always have, when they log in, they'll be able to see what they uploaded, upload new files, upload new structure, and just keep continuing to do that. So this is a folder generator, that you're affecting, and you're writing the structure inside that area that the client sees. But also you can write inside this area of sharing with clients, where you can pre-create. Okay, now we're going to give to you. Maybe these files aren't ready yet, or maybe there's a series of PDFs that you want to share with every client, and you put that here. Or maybe there's an entire structure of PDFs and instructions that you want to deliver immediately while clients are onboarding. So you can create a folder generator that can also include files, as you see here, and also pre-create the folder structure that you plan to use with them, and let your staff, you train your staff. Okay, when we're delivering, you're going to go here inside quarterly statements, and you're going to deliver and upload the files inside this folder. And the second that you do that, the second that you upload the file here, it's available to this client. Or to, I'm not in the client now, but if I had applied this folder generator to a client, it would have the same structure. And as they were working with that client's files, they would go in the client through the structure, which would already exist. They wouldn't have to create it. And every client that you applied this folder generator to would have the same exact structure in a very replicatable and perfect way, so that your systems and your processes can follow that structure. Your training, when you're training someone, you say, okay, here's how we do it. We deliver it there, we deliver it here. Then all your training for your clients, as you're educating them, you will find it here, you will find it there. It will always be the same. So the accuracy is really important here. And in addition, you can create structure inside your private files as well, in the same way. So inside each of these, which has a specific purpose, you can create unlimited structure, unlimited files, unlimited whatever you need. And again, this is only one folder generator. So this applies to one purpose or one type of client possibly. And you could have unlimited different configurations to apply to whatever scenario you need for specific clients. And then as they're coming through a specific funnel or a workflow, you apply that that folder generator that gives them that structure that's perfect for your use case in that scenario. Okay, Tommy has a question. Let's see Tommy's question. He says, "Can you also generate folder based on circle? So when you make a circle, you should generate a folder with the same name." No, Tommy, but we try to avoid hinging a lot of automations on a circle being added or removed. And I know that it seems to make sense that that we might do it like that, by hinging on circle. But it really doesn't logically, because everywhere that we have the ability for you to add someone to a circle, we have the ability for you to perform all these other actions and assignments, right? So, for example, you might in one place say, I want to add them to circle A, and then I want to do X, Y, and Z. But in this type of setting that you're suggesting, you may contradict yourself and say, because I added into this circle, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to do Z, Y, and X. So it presents the possibility of redundant or conflicting automations or instructions. And so therefore, when you're making a circle, we would just say, I think what you're trying to say is that you want to create a shared folder with the circle, of the circle's name, and then anything you drop in that folder would be shared with the circle. I think that's what you're saying, but let's get to the shared folder functionality, and I think it will help. Yes. Okay, I gotcha. Although that's not such a bad idea, I think, as I'm really kind of thinking it through, Tommy. We have that capability 100%. But in the same way, I think now that I'm thinking on the fly that we create audiences in sync with an audience, an email marketing audience. We could do the same thing with a folder. Just auto-create a shared folder, right? That might be the thing. Because without that functionality, you would have to create a shared folder and then assign it to the circle, that kind of thing. Yeah, not a terrible idea. So make it a note. I'll try to make a note here. Let's go back. So now we've covered client files. We've looked at the structure inside. We've covered folder generators and looked at how you can pre-create that structure as your clients and apply it to your clients as they're as they're going through a workflow. Let's look at projects now. Okay, so inside projects, I'm going to look at it here. If I go to, in this account, if I go inside projects, these are the 4 projects that exist in this account. If I go into projects, you'll see the same. So let's look at how this correlates. Here's projects, and for each project, the platform will auto create a folder like this, and auto show you the client, how many files are uploaded in that project, how many tasks are in the project. So here's a good example. Let's look at this one, Wheatley Automotive. Okay, so here we are. Let's go inside this project. And inside the project, you'll see that we have a Files tab here. And we see we have 11 tasks, just as we see here. Let's go inside. Now, here's what's important. You have inside each project, and in SuiteDash, the projects are protected by default. What does that mean? It means that only the people you assign to the project to be part of the project will be able to see and know that it exists. Other people that aren't assigned to it will not even see it. They won't know it exists. And by definition, only the people that are assigned to it would be able to be assigned tasks and see the files and all those things. But even inside of that, there's a private files folder inside of that project, which is only accessible to the people who are assigned to the project and who are staff. They're not accessible to the client. And there's their public files. These files are accessible to the client. And then inside tasks, the task folder, we auto create a folder for each individual task that's created here, so that any task that has a file uploaded to it, it's easy to access here. You can always navigate directly to it and then preview it or download it. Yep. Oh, this is SVG. We don't have that ability quite yet. So you can download the SVG, or you can preview any PNG, JPEG, movie file, web, the HEIC file format from Apple. And most anything you can preview here, but not SVGs quite yet. Okay, but you'll see in the task, this is that task logo design. And if I click here, here's the uploaded file. Task file is there. It's the same one. So again, there's two different paths to reach these files, either through the project and drilling down through, as I've done here, or here through the Files toolkit and find the project and go directly to the task and retrieve the file there. If I delete it from here, it will delete it from here. If I delete it from here, it will delete it from here. It's the same file. It's not, it's just different paths. Okay? So, reinforcing, this is the default structure for projects: private files, public files, and tasks. This one, these two you can create and create structure inside. This one is always auto-created and auto-managed. All right. Let's go back. So we've covered now client files, projects, folder generators. Let's start to look at a few other ones here. Let's start with shared folders. Okay, so if I create a new shared folder, I get the option for create a new shared folder or share an existing folder. If I create a new shared folder, it looks like this, and you're able to, you can create a name, and you could say, this is my world maps, let's just say. Okay. And then we can decide what users we would like to see this. And then I need to type WIC here so that I can find my my client, or I can share with a circle, or I can share with a staff member or an internal or whoever, anybody that I designate here, the folder will be shared with. And I can designate if they can edit, meaning they can have delete functionality or be able to add new things, or they could just view. Okay, so this, Tommy, is where you were discussing. So if I said this one was famous directors, and I just decided, you know what, this, I want to create a folder that's shared with this circle specifically, and then I want to just click share. Now, everybody that's in that circle, both now and in the future, will be able to see this folder and anything that's inside it. If I remove the person from the circle, they will cease to get access to that folder. If I add a new person to the circle, they will instantly get access to the folder. So the folder is shared based on the circle affiliation in this case. So it's just what you said, except it's not auto-generated. But then, again, I think there's no limitation there. And as you saw, when you go to create a new shared folder, you can create a you can share an existing folder as well. Okay, so just any folder that you already have created, like in this case, if you just create, you can create folders that are not shared, that are just structure. So if I wanted to say this is top level, and then drill inside of that, and then I wanted to create a new folder inside of that, call that second level, like so, and so on. I could keep going for as long as I wanted to go. So I can create these organizational folders, I would call these. Not really shared with anyone, not intended to be shared. They're just internal with staff, like so. If you decide, oh, you know what, I think I want to share that one now, then you would say new shared folder, share an existing folder, choose this one from the picker that comes up, and then you're off. And then you'll get the same settings, the same ability to choose individuals or circles. Okay? So that's a shared folder, and that's quite powerful because, for example, if you wanted to create a set of PDFs, as kind of like we talked about before, you wanted to create a folder that gave access to even some paid content almost. You could do it this way. And as a result of some payment of an invoice, you could add them to a specific circle that's intended for this purpose only. And the shared folder would be created and house the content that they just paid for. And by the payment of the invoice, using an automation, you'll add them to the circle, which will instantly, the next time they reload the file, the folder will be there available to them to navigate and see all the content inside. Just because you added them to the circle based on that automation or even a manual action. So shared folders can be used to automate access to files in a way that's predictable. Okay. Request files. Let's look at this one. So if I click request files, what I can do is create what we call a file request. So here's a good example. You could say bank statements, right? So send me your bank statements. Please, please, please send me your bank statements, right, Tim? And then we auto create a folder for you that goes inside file request, or you can choose a folder and you can add a deadline and create this sort of urgency there. And you'll click next. You can select the users from here that you would like to try to send this to, right? Circle. You can even do circles here. You can do staff members here. But more importantly, you can type in any email address here. So if we wanted to say, hey, bill@microsoft.com, or how about banker@bankofamerica.com if you're a mortgage broker or something like this, or any situation where you need to ask for files from someone who's not in your CRM and you don't have them, you don't want them, it's a one-time deal, you just want to send this file request to them, you can use any email address here and send this request. And what will happen is you can send a message here. They will receive an email notification with a link, and that link will provide them the ability to upload files in a non-logged way, and those will be delivered into your file request folder. Let's take a look at that. So if we go into file request, here we are with bank statements, right? Or any number of things that you would request for. These are all, some of them are tests, some of those are examples. So if there was a submission, like in the case of here, each submission creates its own folder, and it includes all the files that were submitted, right? So each submission to the file request. All right, so if we have the bank statements here, what you can also do is go over here to the three dots menu and click preview file request, and then you can actually see what this is going to look like, and you can grab the URL. You could send this URL by email or text or whatever you'd like, however it makes easy. It's non-logged, and all the information about who it is, or where it needs to go and what company it is in this hash. If I was to create a new private window, I could show you that at this mock website, madmax.studio, we've even used this same concept to iframe in a file request into the website. So just what you saw by that URL, it's just iframed here. So you could tell your clients, hey, just go to my website, click Dropbox, and then choose files, and all they're going to do is just choose a file, say that I'm uploading it here, and then this becomes the information so you know who it's from, and they click upload, and off it goes. And look, it looks like it's part of the website. Everything gets uploaded, and that's it. It's that easy. Of any size. This doesn't have to have a file restriction. It doesn't have to have any kind of association or logging or anything like that. So it's quite simple. All right, so each file request will have its own folder, and each submission will have its own folder, and inside each folder will be the files that were submitted. Okay. Back to the home here. File transfer. So this is the opposite direction for request files. Request files is a very easy way to reach out to someone and say, please send me these files. They don't have to know anything. They don't have to be encumbered by attaching things to emails and limitations thereof. All they have to do is click the link, upload the files. You get a notification that they were uploaded. Then you go to your portal and grab the files. You have them. Everything's good. Okay. Transfer files is the same way. There's no limitation on size, and it makes it very easy for you to create a file package that consists of any number of files of any size. Send it to any number of users. In addition to same thing, this can be anyone that's not in your portal. It can be any email address out. So a banker, or I know your clients might call you and say, I need my tax returns for the last 3 years sent to this person. Okay, well, that's not so easy for us to do by email. It's insecure. There's lots of problems there. But what you could do is create this file package and do a file transfer that would go to this banker or to this mortgage broker very quickly. They can download it straight away. It's all secure, and you fulfilled your duty as a tax professional and didn't do things in an insecure way. So that's one example, but there's many examples if you wanted to send large files to your clients or to anyone else. Transfer files is designed exactly for that. Okay, I wanted to go back to the diagram. Good. This is the folder generators diagram where we show each folder generator's title, and then inside that the same structure that you get with clients, and inside that unlimited structure that you can make. Great. And here's projects where we talked about private files, public files, and then the task files, and those have a task that's auto created for each task. And then does it do it when I wave? I'm trying to figure out where that hand comes from. All right, so that's this structure for projects. Let's go back to the home. So I believe we're sitting in the place where we've covered client files. We've looked at projects. We've showed how it's synchronous between the projects and the files destination. We've looked at file requests. We've looked at file transfer. We've looked at folder generators. Let's look a little bit on an individual basis at things like the file preview. So you can preview a PDF and see how many pages are in it and zoom in and out, download, print, all those things. You can preview any image. You can preview videos. Let's see if I have a video in here somewhere. There's an audio. I had a video somewhere, I think. Here's an HEIC image that Apple is now using for their images. This one looks like a big one. Yep, there we go. Okay, so you'll see that. So you can preview anything directly in the browser. You don't have to constantly download them, almost anything. You can hot link to specific files. So if you, say, for example, have a PDF that you want to link to in an email or something like that, but it's already uploaded, you can copy a public link if you're using an email, because you want to be able to. The protected link will make sure that the person is logged into your portal before it delivers it. So there's limited use for the protected link. It's just there for HIPAA compliance and the ability to create structures around that. The public link is more likely the one you'll want to use, and you can use that as a direct link and make it so that they can download this PDF straight away. Yes, you could link to a video, David. But it wouldn't stream it. I think that might be where you're going. So there's a difference between streaming video and downloading a video so that you can play it on your desktop. Streaming video is what something like YouTube does, Vimeo does. They feed it to you packets at a time, and there's a buffer and things like that. So it's a different technology. This would not be like a streaming link. It would be a download link. So if you have a video that you want them to be able to download. Now, a video they can open inside this preview and actually watch it directly in your. So if you're delivering assets like video or audio, something like that, you could have it here and they could open it directly. And I apologize for not having one immediately here. But yes, you can preview MP4s here very easily and MOVs as well. So you can rename, download, you can even upload new versions. So you can have multiple versions, move, copy, all the things that you would expect, and delete. So there's plenty of options there. Let's look here at the settings. Okay, in file settings, and this will probably be near the end of the presentation. So I think we did a good job here. So if you click file settings, you will get this modal where all the settings are here. So you'll see how much file storage quota you have. And then you'll also see some notification options. When files are uploaded, who will receive a notification? So if John Wick uploads a file, who will receive those? Or don't send one. That's fine too. This notification setting is for notifications that get sent to contacts and more specifically for shared folders. So you can set it to always send when you upload or always ask, which means every time you upload, it will say, do you want to send or not send this time? And you can answer every time. And that might work for you in the case that sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Or you can click never send. And here's a notification that will get sent on a new file revision. Here's attachments of files. So you just look through these settings, but if you are looking for a setting related to files, it's in this place, right? Here is the file sharing capability set by role, and you'll see it's a very granular level here. So if you want to prevent clients from deleting files only, but also allow all these other things, then yes, you can do that. Or you can just shut down all their capabilities by enabling all of these. Same thing with prospects. So you can be very granular about how these permissions are turned on and off in this case. And then this relates to the file transfer functionality where you can set a friendly URL. And I don't really have time to go through that one completely, but there is a video, I believe, on YouTube that does a good job of presenting file transfer as a feature. But what this does is if you say, like, if you want to say retrieve, that's a good way to say it. You can set this friendly URL and then copy this path along with retrieve. And when you send a file transfer, it will also, you can elect to have it just send a number. Okay, and then you can take this URL and go to your website, kind of like we looked at before. I might create a page on my website or a link on my website that opened in a new tab, and what it would do is open my branded retrieval page that was actually this URL. Let me try to hit where I was before here. Obviously, I'm talking about Deep Focus, and now I'm talking about Mad Max, but you get the idea. This is a standalone page that has a input for numbers. And what the file transfer is has an associated 6-digit number. When you enter the number, thank you, Caitlin. Caitlin posted the link. When you enter the number, that file transfer is identified, and the files get downloaded. So what this means is that you can do it in a non-logged way. You can send a file transfer and it would send the number by email, and all it would say is go to my website, click this link, and then enter the 6 digits that you were given, and you will get delivered the files. So that's pretty slick. A very easy way for them to get that file in a secure way and convenient way. All right. So there's a lot to cover for sure. So we've covered settings. Bulk move files. Yes, you can. See? Check these 5 and click move, and then you would have a choice to where to move them to. Yep. So that is, yes, a possibility. Bulk copy, bulk delete, bulk download. If you click download, it will download as a zip. Oh, that's another thing to say. Let me find a shared folder here. I believe it's on this level. Yep, so if I click download here from a shared folder, it'll download the entire folder as a zip file. You see it right here, a zip file. So that's nice in the case that you're delivering large structure of files, and inside the zip file, the structure will be replicated. Yeah, I think we covered it pretty well. Okay, everyone, I think that does it. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.